What's going on, everyone? Chris from Pickdawgz.com here with the Wraparound. We're going to be breaking down the NHL action going down on Saturday, October 12th, 2024. If you like this content, make sure you smash that thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Make sure to let me know your NHL picks in the comment section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my daily $15 best bet, which is sometimes my NHL power play, head to Pickdawgz.com and click the Premium Picks tab at the top of the page. Now, we split yesterday. Came out with a little bit of profit thanks to the Philadelphia Flyers winning in overtime. But we're here to do more than just split. So do my best, try to put you guys on some winners. We do have a full college football card today, but that doesn't mean we're going to forget about the NHL. They mean just as much to me as they do to all you guys who are tuned into the wraparounds. I can put you on some NHL winners. So you guys know the drill. You ready? I'm ready. Let's get into it. Our first game comes to us from the TD Garden, where the Boston Bruins take on the Los Angeles Kings. And I think it's actually going to be a pretty good matchup. The Kings got in the win column, took down the Buffalo Sabres last time out, while Boston picked up a 6-4 win to kick off the season against the Montreal Canadiens. However, I do think there is some value here with the Los Angeles Kings. I'm not saying that the Boston Bruins are going to lose frequently at home, but there's value here with the Los Angeles Kings at this price, considering that we're going to go back to it. The Kings were one of the best road teams in the NHL last season, especially early on in the season when they were crushing it, winning games left and right. And for me, I look at this game and Boston has a bit of a look ahead. I'm not saying that they're going to take the Los Angeles Kings lightly, but the Bruins, after this game, will host the Florida Panthers in a rematch after that 6-4 loss in their season opener. So I think that Boston might have one eye set on that game. This isn't normally early start time for a team from the West Coast, but like I said, the Kings have had some success, and head-to-head between these two teams, the road team is 11-1 in the last 12 meetings, including the Kings being 4-0 in the last 4 meetings in Boston. So I'm going to take the Kings here at plus 130. Now we're heading to Madison Square Garden for a matchup between the New York Rangers and the Utah Hockey Club. Rangers a hefty favorite at home in this one, and for good reason. I mean, these are still, your reigning President's Trophy holders, and they still have made Madison Square Garden one of the tougher places to go on the road and win last season. But I'm going to be taking some shots here on some value today, and the Utah Hockey Club, I think, are one team that I want to take a shot on because, I think what we're going to see with the New York Rangers is kind of what we saw with the Winnipeg Jets on a Friday. The Winnipeg Jets were sort of in that same boat. The Winnipeg Jets, they crushed the Edmonton Oilers in their opener when they were on the road. They went into Edmonton, just took care of business in a big way. I believe they won that game 6-0 as well. Can't remember it off the top of my head, but I know Winnipeg won big in that game and then went home and needed overtime to get by the lowly Chicago Blackhawks and didn't look good doing it. I mean, they only scored 2 goals in that game. I think we could see something similar here with the New York Rangers, who just pummeled a rival in the Pittsburgh Penguins, beat Pittsburgh 6-0 in that game. And like I said, New York, not an easy place to go on the road and win, but Utah, they've come out strong to start things off. They picked up a nice road win over the Islanders last time out. The Islanders, a team that they were my best bet of the day that day. And every time the Islanders went up, if it wasn't within seconds, it was within a couple minutes that the Utah Hockey Club responded. So to me, this Utah team is playing with some house money at this point. I think they're going to start to maybe open some eyes. So I'm going to go with the Utah Hockey Club here, plus 1.5, put a little bit on the money line as well. And I'm going to, sprinkle a little bit more player props in this season as well. I'm going to go with Dylan Guenther for an anytime goal. He's got 4 goals already this season. Going to try to ride it out here, plus 210. Now we're going to Scotiabank Arena for a matchup between the Maple Leafs and the Penguins. Two teams that got back on track in their last games, and two teams that I'm not going to lie, I kind of looked at them and was like, well, they're, it's going to take some time for them to get going. The Leafs, got on schedule a lot faster than I thought they would. They took it to the New Jersey Devils, while the Penguins took advantage of a Detroit team that is maybe what they looked like down the stretch last year and is going to carry that over into this season. But the thing for me here is that, I look at this matchup and, the Toronto Maple Leafs historically have had a ton of success against the Pittsburgh Penguins, especially at home. And the Pittsburgh Penguins, I think they're a team that's going to be fine as long as they can get some scoring depth behind Sidney Crosby. But right now, Anthony Beauvillier is their leading scorer, and they need to have, a lot more help. And, I just think that Toronto can get the job done at home. The home team between these two teams has won 9 of the last 13. Pittsburgh 3-8 in the last 11 meetings in Toronto. One of my least favorite games on the board just based on the price, but I'll take the Maple Leafs to win this one in regulation at minus 125. Now we're heading to the Capital One Arena for the matchup between the Washington Capitals and the New Jersey Devils. Now, this is an interesting one because the New Jersey Devils already have 3 games under their belt this season. The Washington Capitals will be taking the ice for the first time. And normally I sit here and I don't want to necessarily jump on a team that's yet to take the ice, especially with how much, gameplay we've already seen from the New Jersey Devils already this season. However, I'm trying to figure out which New Jersey team is going to show up here. Was it the team that took Buffalo behind the woodshed in Europe, or the team that lost 4-2 to the Maple Leafs come in their first game back stateside? And it also pops into my mind, was the Europe series more about Buffalo stinking up the joint or New Jersey actually looking that good? I'm not going to try to figure out which New Jersey team is going to show up here. What I am going to do is go with an angle with the Capitals, who I think are really locked in on getting Alex Ovechkin that goal scoring title and that goal scoring record this season. I believe he enters the season 41 goals back of Wayne Gretzky for the all-time mark. I think he opens up his goal scoring account here. He had 3 goals in the 4 games against the Devils last season. And I think we're getting some great value here with Alex Ovechkin, who is always a threat, especially being on the power play lines and just his goal scoring prowess. I think last season, his slow start, where he had, I believe it was 8 goals in the first 43 games of the season, I think it was. I think that had something to do with sort of the luster that's worn off. But right now we're getting him at plus 165, which for me is great value. Someone I'm going to probably parlay up. I'm probably going to parlay Ovechkin and Dylan Guenther as well for an anytime goal parlay. Speaking of the Buffalo Sabres, we're going to head to the KeyBank Arena where the Sabres are hosting the Florida Panthers. And the Florida Panthers were the parlay busters from reading the comments of the wraparound a couple days ago. A lot of folks were on the Panthers, myself included, because I thought, this is a Panthers team that's still your defending Stanley Cup champions. And maybe we won't be able to rely on that. We saw it in baseball this season with the Texas Rangers. You can win it, your first championship in franchise history and then just completely fall off the map. And this is going to be a bit of a new look Panthers team this season after so much, roster, manipulation that happened in the offseason. However, I stand by what I said in the last segment that the Buffalo Sabres they look like a joke. I'm sorry. They have not looked good in their first 3 games so far this season. The offense isn't there. They're averaging 1 goal per game. The goaltending hasn't necessarily been anything special. Devin Levy, did do a good job of keeping the Sabres in the one start that he made, but Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is not the option in my opinion. And I just think this is a spot where the Florida Panthers maybe take out a little bit of frustration from that loss on the lowly Sabres here. I think the Panthers are just, like I said, heads and shoulders the better team. And historically, they've had Buffalo's number. They're 5-0 in the last 5 meetings in Buffalo. 35 wins in the last 51 head-to-head meetings. So I'm going to go with the Florida Panthers here at a reasonable price on the money line. Next, we head to the Bell Center where the Montreal Canadiens take on the Ottawa Senators. And the Ottawa Senators, viewed by many as a very trendy team to make a move this season. And, I think for good reason in some spots on that team. I mean, you brought in a Vezina Trophy winner in Linus Ullmark to finally give this team some stability in goal as long as he stays healthy. You still have pieces that are coming back, like, Tim Stützle that underperformed last year that probably are due to bounce back this season. And while I normally don't like to hop on the trendy teams early, I think this is one spot where I think I have to, because the Ottawa Senators historically have had Montreal's number. They've won 9 straight head-to-head meetings between these two. But we saw Montreal, they had Sam Montembeault rob Toronto in the opener, and we covered that on the wraparound. I liked Montreal in that spot because Toronto has issues with Montreal early in the season. But then the real Montreal kind of came out to play in their loss against Boston. Caden Primo got rocked. They gave up 6 goals in that game, the Canadiens did. And I think that the Senators are going to be a team on the rise this season. And if you're going to be a team on the rise, you have to take advantage of some spots and take advantage of the teams that you have the number of. And I think the Senators definitely have Montreal's number. So I'm going to go with the Ottawa Senators in this one, take them at minus 150. Now we had the Little Caesars Arena where the Detroit Red Wings take on the Nashville Predators, and I was a little bit hesitant to give the Preds my full backing when they took on the Dallas Stars, and for good reason. I mean, the Dallas Stars ended up winning that game, but I will say I was at least a little bit impressed with Nashville. I think if Scott Wedgwood doesn't start that game in goal, if you start UC Saros for Nashville, there's a good shot that the Predators win that game because it was one bad period where Nashville gave up 2 goals in quick succession early in that second period, and then after they responded, gave up 2 more goals by the end of the second. If Saros is in net, a couple of those goals probably don't go in, and Nashville probably has a better result because I think the Nashville Predators looked good, especially rallying in the third period. They did fall short, but now they take on a Detroit team that just came out limp against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Did not look good, and I'm starting to have my doubts. I mentioned it earlier. I'm starting to have my doubts if this Detroit team has really changed from the team that really struggled their way down the stretch last season. I think the Nashville Predators, they're going to be just fine, and I think they're going to bounce back here. I just think, I just think they're flat out the better team side by side. So, give me the Nashville Predators on the money line in this one. Now we head to the XL Energy Center where the Minnesota Wild take on the Seattle Kraken. And another underdog that I think I'm going to take a shot on here. I'm going to go with the Kraken in this one. I just think that the Minnesota Wild continue to be overpriced a little bit. I think they were a little bit lucky to escape with that 3-2 win over the Columbus Blue Jackets in their opener. I got greedy. I went for the full payout on the plus money around plus 200, but the plus 1.5 still paid. And Seattle, this is a Seattle team that battled St. Louis hard. They jumped out to a 2-0 lead in that game over the Blues before letting the Blues rally for the 3-2 lead that Seattle wouldn't be able to overcome. But head to head, the road team has had a lot of success in this matchup. The road team has won 5 of the last 6 meetings between these two teams, and I think that Seattle can get some get back here and bounce back. I'm still just not sold on this Minnesota Wild team. Sure, Philip Gustafson had a great debut, but got to remember him and Marc-Andre Fleury, the 1-2 punch in this Minnesota goaltending room, both had sub 900 save percentages last year. So I'm going to take a shot here on the Seattle Kraken at the plus money price at plus 120. Now we head to the American Airlines Center where the Dallas Stars take on the New York Islanders, and I'm gonna take a believe it when I see it approach with the Islanders. I'm not sticking a fork in them, but I just want no part of them right now. I was really, really appalled with what the Islanders put out in that game against the Utah Hockey Club. Multiple occasions where the Islanders battled back. They were down 2-1. They battled back to tie the game and then took a lead shorthanded. Gave up a power play goal before the end of the power play. Then they take a lead and then right back come Utah, and Semyon Varlamov just gets it slid through the 5-hole, and all of a sudden we go to overtime and the Islanders choke it away. And I think that's going to be a recurring theme, at least early on. Like I said, I want zero part to do with this Islanders team. The Dallas Stars, for me, are the better team, top to bottom, from a roster perspective. And instead, the Stars looked really good against the Predators in that opener. Came out, they can bury you with quick flurries, and we saw it in that second period against the Preds. I believe I've seen that Varlamov is going to get the start here as well. And if that's the case, I wouldn't hesitate to jump on a Stars puck line here. But I'm just going to take the Stars on the money line. It's the heftiest money line price of the day that I'm rolling with here, but I'm going to take the Stars at minus 165. Now we head to the Ball Arena where the Colorado Avalanche take on the Columbus Blue Jackets, and I honestly think that Columbus' best chance at a marquee win was sort of that early matchup against the Minnesota Wild, and they fell just short, like we mentioned earlier. Now that being said, Columbus did win against the Avalanche at home last season as plus 300 underdogs, and you're probably going to get these hefty underdog prices with the Blue Jackets a lot this season. But for me, I think this is just the wrong place, the wrong time. The Avalanche were just humiliated by the Vegas Golden Knights 8-4 in their season opener. And while seeing 8 goals given up in the opener can sound some alarms, I'm not hitting the panic button if I'm the Avalanche. It's just one bad game. Georgiev was still one of the league leaders in wins last season, and I think the Avalanche are going to be just fine. I think this is a bounce back spot for the Avs at home. I'm taking the Avalanche here on the puck line. Now we head to the Scotiabank Saddledome where the Calgary Flames take on the Philadelphia Flyers, and the Flyers were our plus money payers on Friday. They got the job done against the Vancouver Canucks, and while that's a nice story, it's all well and good. The reality is it's a back-to-back situation for Philadelphia. After playing not just overtime but going to a shootout as well, having to turn around and play Calgary on a quick on a quick bounce back. I'm gonna have to see what the Flyers are made of here. It's also going to be interesting to see what Ivan Fedotov brings to the table as well. Now, the Calgary Flames have had some time to let it sit, but this is a team that still now gets their home opener after rallying to take the lead and end up holding on against the Vancouver Canucks in their opener as well. And I think the Calgary Flames are going to be a team in a rebuild, so they are not going to have many opportunities to string a ton of wins together. But catching the Flyers in the second half of the back-to-back after overtime, I think is a spot that the Flames will gladly accept. So I'm going to take the Calgary Flames in this one. Laid the cheap price minus 125, but not when I'm rushing to the window to bet. Now we head to Rogers Place for a matchup between the Edmonton Oilers and Chicago Blackhawks. And you feel for the Blackhawks because they battled the Winnipeg Jets tough on Friday, but at the end of the day, it was once again the Chicago Blackhawks falling short. And just like the Columbus Blue Jackets, I think that the Chicago Blackhawks are simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. The Edmonton Oilers, they've been hearing the criticism for the last couple days after their season opening loss at home to the Winnipeg Jets, where they were shut out 6-0. And now you gotta, if you're Chicago, you gotta head into Edmonton, take on a pissed off Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, and the Edmonton Oilers, and an Edmonton Oilers team that just wants to show their fans like, hey, we're not dead. We just had a bad night. And the Chicago Blackhawks, if you want to bounce back, they're usually the team you want to do it against. We saw Soderblom get the start in Friday's matchup against the Winnipeg Jets. Looks to be Peter Mrazek that's going to get the start here for me though. Potato. It's the same thing really. It's just a different goalie standing in the crease. At the end of the day, I think the Blackhawks are going to get pummeled here. I'm going to go with the Edmonton Oilers on the puck line in this one. And our final game on Saturday's card takes us to the SAP Center where the San Jose Sharks take on the Anaheim Ducks for our first falling tree game of the season. When I say that, it's like everybody says, if a tree fell in the woods, would anybody hear it? Well, if they canceled this game, would anybody notice? And maybe say fans of these two clubs would, but realistically, probably not. But I will say, the Anaheim Ducks, they've yet to see the ice this season, and it'll be interesting to see how they sort of come out here against the San Jose team that they had they got the better of last season. They won 3 of the 4 meetings head to head, and head to head, Anaheim's won 7 of the last 9. But we've already seen San Jose come out strong, and they were playing a backup in Joel Hofer, but San Jose looked decent in that opener against the St. Louis Blues, and there's not going to be many opportunities for the Sharks to be competitive and win a ton of games this season, I don't think. So I would think that San Jose is going to put their best foot forward here. I'm not a Lucas Dostal fan. He had a goals against average just under 4 on the road last season. I do anticipate it being him here until the Ducks figure out what this John Gibson situation is going to look like. So for me, in just battle where it's really the lesser of two evils, I'm going to take a shot here with the team giving me plus money. So give me the San Jose Sharks at plus 110. That's it. That's all the NHL action for Saturday, October 12th, 2024. If you like this content, make sure you smash that thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. If you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. Remember to use the promo code PICK at checkout for an additional 15% off your purchase. And make sure to let me know your NHL picks in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. Good luck.